It's Power 106, LA's number one for hip hop. Good morning. We are
Good
Brown
morning.
Bag Mornings, and we have a legend in our presence, a street legend.
That's right.
I feel like there's such a grace over you, Charles. Charles Cosby in here. Good
Yeah.
morning, Charles. We're talking about just how lucky you are. And let me just say the title of his books, in case you didn't know who this is. Hustling with the Godmother, My Life and Time with Griselda Blanco. Yes,
Wow.
that
Sheesh.
Griselda Blanco, okay?
Wow. Yeah.
The reason why I say there's such a grace, because we all know, like, the infamous, like, the myth of Griselda Blanco.
Yeah.
We're seeing her shows on Netflix now, but it is that no man survived her.
Yeah.
No.
Husbands, ex-husbands, boyfriends.
She got
But
them.
Charles survived.
Yeah.
Not only did he survive her, he survived the streets, he survived the system. Because
Yep.
there were points in time where you could have caught up, got in prison time for real, and you slipped past all of that. Do you notice the grace that you also have within your life?
Absolutely. But I want to first take a moment to thank you guys for inviting me.
Of
It's a
course.
pleasure to
Of
be
course.
here in such wonderful company. Yes, I have a grace over my life, you know, because there were many situations where I could have lost my life
Yeah.
or I could be in jail for life. You know, so I was able to make smart decisions.
Right.
And even during my darkest days and my times in the street, you know, I always pray to the man upstairs, you know, for
Yeah.
protection.
Did you feel like you had somebody praying for you? Like, do you have, like, was your mom very religious, or your grandma, like, or anybody that's like, oh man, sometimes for me, certain situations,
Right.
I'll be like, man, my grandma,
Yeah,
she
she
must
got
have been
me.
just be praying for
Just
me,
praying for
like,
you?
because it's unexplainable any other way.
Okay, so it's funny you mentioned that because my mom was an evangelist. So she prayed for me every day. You know, she knew what life I was involved in, so she never judged me,
Yeah.
right or wrong. You know, she loved me, you know, all
Yep.
the same. But, you know, she prayed for my protection.
Right.
Wow. And you got it.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm still here.
Absolutely.
You know, Charles, I saw Cocaine Cowboys. Thank you to my husband for that, because he's like, no, you got to learn about some real stuff out here. I'm out here watching Dateline, and he's like, no, if you want to watch like true crime for real, this is what you got to watch.
I need to watch that.
And he showed me, and your story is incredible in itself. The part one of just Charles Cosby coming up in the Bay, understanding and getting into the game out there, the drug dealing game, and what that did to you, losing people in your life, having to move away, coming back, to all of that, trying to figure it out. That in itself is a movie, right?
Yes,
And you
ma'am.
notice
Yes,
that like
ma'am.
that in itself was going crazy, and then you see I'm assuming it's like an America's Most Wanted type of news commercial or something, or some type of news update on Griselda Blanco, who at the time was getting imprisoned in California, right?
Yes, yes.
And what about that sparked your interest?
Okay, so that was actually 1985 when she was arrested, February to be exact. So I got in the game in 1984 as a 16-year-old teenager.
Oh, you were little.
Yeah, I was young. I was
Yeah.
young, you know, but I wanted to follow the trend, you know, like how teenagers do today.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
follow TikTok trends.
Yeah.
So back then the trend was selling crack in the hood.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be a part of it, you know, because my friends, they went from riding mongoose bicycles and Huffy bicycles to driving cars, you know, and having wads of money in their pocket. So I wanted to be a part of that life. So I switched my formal education to a street education, you know, and you know, that's how I first started. May 1984 to be exact. So right at 40 years ago.
Man.
Wow.
Does it trip you out when you look back at life? Like, I've lived probably like 10 people's lives in one, and you still got more to go, you know, because I know there's still much more in the works. That's a life that you had, but there's so much more life for you to go, you know?
Well, the thing of it is, my life is bigger than just, you know, what people see on Netflix.
Yeah.
My life is a lot bigger than that. A lot of people have told me, not in person, but like on the internet, I read comments on the internet, you know, Griselda made you. My mother made me. Griselda only made me richer.
Yeah.
You know, so, well, like I said, I keep a low profile.
Right.
You know, I've always have, even before, you know, pre-Cocaine Cowboys too.
Yeah.
I always kept a low profile, you know, and so when I was approached to film my story
Right.
by the guys in Miami, Racking Tour, I let them know out the gate, I'm not interested in being famous at all. You know, I don't need that. I don't want that. But however, if I do participate in this project, I want ownership.
Nice.
Come on.
So they made me a deal I couldn't refuse.
That's great.
I know, because people are mentioning this Netflix show a lot, especially with Griselda, and I did see your take on it, which I have to say you were very gracious in your take. Like, I like that this is happening. I hope that the story's told right, but the real story is the one that I know. And, you know, even when I was watching Cocaine Cowboys 2, that story, Griselda's come up, how she was raised in Colombia, the deaths she saw very early on in her age, right? Which kind of show what some would say monster that was created, but the mind behind it, right?
That was going to set the stage for the rest of her life.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you knew that, and no one but somebody close to her could tell that. She's not telling her story, you know? So even understanding that in that part of the documentary, it was awesome for me, for you to give her that space, because you respected it. You know, like, we look at the bad guy, but we don't know what made the bad guy, what the origin of the bad guy is. And I think you did an incredible job of retelling her story. You know, did that come to you with conversations with her and letters? Like, how did you learn so much and take all of that in of what it was to become Griselda?
Okay, so Griselda, she was at a point in her life where, you know, she was lonely. You know, had all the money in the world, but, you know, didn't really have no true friends. Separated from her family, locked in a cage.
Yeah.
So when I came along, I mean, we clicked on all cylinders.
Yeah.
You know, I gave her what she had been missing. I nourished her mind and her heart. I stroked her ego, something she had been missing for a long time.
Yeah.
So, you know, no part of her life was off limits to me. You know, I knew her darkest secrets. She knew my darkest secrets. I mean, even to this day, I could take you to dead bodies. But those secrets are going to go to the grave with me.
Yeah. Dang, Charles.
Wow.
That's deep.
That
Because
is.
I watched the whole Netflix documentary of Griselda, and I didn't even know Griselda knew about you. Or
Yeah, they didn't show that. And you know what's
Yeah.
funny is when they came in, they're like, after the 6 episodes, they're like, it just felt like it was, and this is them not knowing the story, right?
Yeah.
They're just watching, and they still felt, for her to be this big name, it feels like it's missing something. It
Yeah.
left off on a weird
a
note.
lot. Yeah, they didn't touch at all when she was in prison.
Okay, so in defense of that series, the Netflix series, it was centered late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
I didn't meet Griselda until 1991, so that's why I wasn't included.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
so
makes a
with
lot
all
more
due
sense.
respect.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
When did you first become conscious of Griselda? Did you see something on TV? Did you hear about her in the streets, or what? How did that even come about?
Well, when she was arrested in 1985 in Irvine, California.
In Irvine?
And it was a big thing on the news. So that's how I first became aware of her.
Yeah. And then after that, the writing of letters, you started writing her letters?
That was 6 years later.
Damn.
Yeah, so in the meantime, I'm still in the street.
Yeah.
You know, I'm heavy in the street. Well, as heavy as I could be at that time as
Right.
a youngster.
Yeah.
So the opportunity came 6 years later. I met a lady who had a personal friendship with Griselda, Panamanian lady. And so asked about Griselda because she told these stories. So
Yeah.
and I'm like, I want to meet her. You know, she's an icon of me. So
Yeah.
I would like to meet her. You know, she represents everything that I aspire to be in my criminal life.
Yeah.
And so I gave her some product, and she gave me information. So that's how I was able to write Griselda for the first time. That's how I was able to meet her.
Wow.
Damn.
That's
Yeah, but
incredible.
you know what's crazy?
I've always been a hustler. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
You're going to find a way.
Yeah.
And you know what's
Always.
crazy, Charles? Because, like, now someone can DM you, right? But back then, it had to be that. Like, even now, people in jail, like,
You had to
someone
send the
can,
kite.
yeah. But now, legit, you had to figure out a way to get their number, the inmate know where they're at, stuff like that,
Yeah.
to make sure it gets to them.
You couldn't just Google it back
You
then.
couldn't.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
No such thing as Google.
You know what's wild though, with your story too, is she didn't just meet you and have this romantic relationship with you. She put you into the fold of the whole system that she had going on. And not for nothing, and granted, we're not Colombians, but we're very much Latino, and we know that black and brown relationship is very fickle. It could be hate and love in a second. It could change in a snap. And you had to be enveloped into this thing where I'm sure the people in her life were looking at her like, what are you doing? Who is this guy? Saying this, that, and the third about you, you know? How do you gain a whole, I guess, businesses trust like that they don't even trust each other?
Yeah, so as you alluded to, brown and black, relationship has been strained for a long time. As of why, I don't know. So imagine dating Griselda Blanco, Colombian side. So those people dislike blacks even more than the beefs that we have with with the Browns. And so they talk shit about I'm exploiting her situation. He's just an opportunist. He doesn't care about it. He's a user. He's a gold digger. Blah blah blah, whatever. And so Michael Corleone, Griselda's son, he called and told me, Charlie, well, this is what everybody's saying about you behind your back. So I told Griselda, I'm like, this is what so and so saying. This is what he's saying. This is what she's saying. So we got on a conference call, and so she blasted him.
Like they're dead?
No,
blast. Because it could go either way. It's Griselda Blanco.
Come on. She verbally blasted him.
Yeah.
So everything was cool, but then they started back up, like months later. But she told me, I can even show you letters to this day that I still have, I don't care what they say about you. I love you, and that's all that count.
Come on.
Wow. I'm the end all be all. So whatever they say, it don't matter.
Yeah. Their say so doesn't hold much weight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you knew Michael. You talked to Michael. Do you still have a relationship with him right now?
Okay, so we're gonna always be family. But sometimes it's family. You guys' relationship becomes strained, but y'all still family.
Facts.
Y'all still care about each other. Michael's doing well for himself, as you know. He's in Miami.
He's doing like a whole press run.
A few reality shows, and I think he's going to do a movie about his brother, Cheeky Oswaldo.
Oh, okay.
He's got a book, I believe. He's doing well for himself, and I'm proud of everything he does. You know what I'm saying? Wish him all the success in the world. I don't talk directly to him. We have a mutual friend, just like maybe a couple of weeks ago. So I hit a mutual friend. I'm like, okay, I want you to tell Michael this about this certain person saying that. So she hit him. He responded immediately. He said, well, tell Charlie I said what's up, and thanks for the heads up, and continue blessings to him.
Come on, Charles.
That's
and
right.
it has to, low key, it has to be like that, especially with how deep and how far it got. And I wanted to ask you, Charles, like, I know that it's an aspiration. And we all have aspirations in whatever field we're in. Granted, you were in the drug game. So an aspiration like that of the Griselda Blanco, the Colombian, and everything that's going down and what they brought to America, the money that they're making, of course it's an aspiration to be a part of it. But once you're in there, I remember seeing about how you had to answer the phone at any given time. If you needed to fly out, you were constantly flying in and out, constantly moving things. Did that ever become like, what did I get myself into? Did it ever become overwhelming? Because it seemed like you're not really living at that point. You're part of the business.
It did, because you have to understand, I was a man with kids, like Jorge.
Yeah.
So, your kids are the most important things in your life. That supersedes money, success, whatever. Your kids are number one. So it did become emotionally draining.
Right.
Because, every time I jump on a plane and go to Milwaukee or wherever it may have been, I'm leaving my kids behind,
Yeah.
So, yeah, regardless of how much money I was making, the sacrifice was too big because I was losing time with my kids.
Yeah. I read that you said after 45 days after meeting Griselda Blanco, you became a millionaire.
Yes.
Just take me back to that time.
Yeah. That's the
And
power.
like, when you first, just became a millionaire, and like your mindset, like, did you go out and buy anything in particular? Did you just keep working? Like what was it?
Okay, so the first deal we did, she sent me 50 kilograms to my door. So I sold it for $2 million.
Wow.
So she gave me a 10% commission, $200,000. A couple weeks later, I was in New York. I negotiated a 200 kilo deal with a black guy. So I got a commission from that. The next day after that, I was in Miami. I negotiated a $3 million deal. So that's all within, 1.5, 2 week span.
Yeah.
And so, like I say, 45 days in, I became a cash money millionaire.
Damn.
Wow.
And so like a lot of people, I'm not trying to brag. I'm just
No,
I'm just being
telling
honest.
the story. Yeah.
Yes, my story. So like a lot of people say, well, it was so easy for you because, you know, it was handed to you. But I was a seasoned hustler for 7 years before I met Griselda. That's all I knew. I mean, till this day, I have no social etiquette. I've never worked a job in my life. I don't know how to do nothing else. Well, I'm in the real estate now, but as far as work, you know, you could put me in a work environment and I would go crazy because I've never done it before. I'm 56 years old. Never worked 1 hour on nobody's job. But I've never ever went without either.
Yeah.
Wow.
And low key, she could send us 50 kilos and we wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yeah,
And I'd be like,
I
all right,
know,
are we making a
man.
cake? Like,
Yeah,
literally,
but
you knew what
yeah,
to do
but
with
see,
it. But it
exactly.
takes
You knew where to go.
knowing.
Most guys that's
Yep.
not even in their life, never been in life, said, I could do the same thing. No, you can't. No, you can't.
You wouldn't know what to do. You don't know how
You
to
wouldn't know
open
where to
it.
go, how
You
to
could receive it
conduct
and then
yourself.
get killed go
Yeah.
trying to sell it.
Yep.
But, you know, I knew a lot of guys.
You knew the channels.
Yeah.
You knew how to talk.
Yes,
You knew what
yes.
to say.
Yeah.
But it trips me out too, like in the Cocaine Cowboys too, when you're like, someone literally just pulled up to your crib
Yes.
and with this box, right?
Yes.
And
Two
inside
boxes,
it-
two boxes.
Two boxes.
Boxes.
But just like nothing, like UPS. Like, hey, here you go.
Wow.
Dang.
That's wild.
True story.
Yeah.
Before Amazon.
yeah.
True story.
Delivery for real.
Next delivery.
You know, Charles, so much is surrounding Griselda, and I understand that you played such a part. Like, you're just talking about the black connects that you did. I don't know that they would have had those connects had you not been in the picture. You know, as much as that she provided certain things about the system, you provided certain things that allowed it to get to how it was, you know, as well, right here in the United States, and get her to a level, help get her to a level. I'm sure she saw that benefit of that relationship, that business relationship, you know, that I don't know, like we said, the racism is real within it, the hatred is real within it. That business would not have been done had you not been in the picture.
I agree 100%. I was indispensable. You know, I had brought in so much money for Griselda that, you know, they couldn't turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I fluffed their bottom line up. And so, speaking of, you know, helping her in ways that, you know, that impacted her bottom line,
Right.
same thing can be said for her reputation to this day, right? So, like, if I had not made Cocaine Cowboys 2, people wouldn't know who Griselda Blanco is.
They wouldn't know the story like they know the story.
No. You know, in Cocaine Cowboys 1, that would have been the end of the story.
Yeah.
You know, she had a 5-minute segment in there or whatever it was. And so, I'll tell you how Cocaine 2 came about. So, I was on the internet. I believe it was Google back then, or maybe one of the other search engines.
Like Ask Jeeves or something. Yeah.
I think it was Lycos.
Lycos.
Lycos.com, I believe it was. You probably don't remember that.
No.
So that was before Google. And so I Lycosed, you know, our names. And so a photo came up of she and I, you know, which was my personal photo. You know, like your husband has negatives from his photos.
Yeah.
I still had the negatives from me and Griselda's photos. It had a copyright symbol beneath my photo, but it was my photo.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got it. So it was Magnolia Pictures out of New York, which is owned by Mark Cuban, same owner who just sold his share of Dallas Mavericks. So I called them directly. I'm like, listen, I was on Lycos. I saw my photo. You guys had a copyright symbol to my photo. And he's like, well, you know, some guys in Florida, they made a documentary. So it'd be better if you talk to them.
Oh, man.
So I left my number. The director, Billy Corbin, he called me immediately, like 2 or 3 minutes later. He's like, Charles, it's a pleasure to meet you. We were doing research for Cocaine Cowboys, and the homicide detectives, the DEA, everybody kept saying, go to California and talk to Charles Cosby. He got a story like you would not believe.
Man.
So he said, since we have you on the phone, we were planning to do a Cocaine Cowboys #2. With these Cubans, they used to race speedboats, cigarette boats in Miami, Florida. Willie Falcone and Salvador Magluta. But since we're in contact with you now, would you be interested in doing Cocaine Cowboys 2 with just you and Griselda? I'm like, well, I'm a private person. I stepped away from my life a long time ago. However, you know, let me think about it. But if I do decide to do it, I don't care about the fame. I don't want to be famous.
Right.
But I know it comes with it. But however, I'm more interested in ownership. He said, okay, well, we'll talk about it. You know, you have my number, call, and, you know, we'll discuss it. So I called maybe a month later. I'm like, you know what? After much debate with my family, let's do it.
Wow. That's
Now,
dope.
Charles, at that time, Griselda's still alive.
Yes, yes.
So,
yes.
like, because I remember in the doc, you're talking as if, like, something could happen. I don't know if I'm, like...
Oh, if he can even do the dog and
Well,
talk?
he did it, but
No,
there was
what-
mentions of her still being alive
Yeah.
and him not really know, like, for the rest of his life, you know, he's kind of got to look over his shoulder
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
at one point she did try to kill him, or at least warning shot you.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know that.
We'll get into that, but
Okay.
I think when it drops, do you get any type of communication? I'm sure it went around.
did you
Everyone
get a kite?
checks, you know, like if she's gonna check in on you.
I'm gonna tell you something funny. So, we filmed a documentary in 2007. So it took 15 months of editing. So we premiered at the Palms Hotel in Las Vegas, the world premiere at the Cine Vegas Film Festival 2008, July to be exact. At the Brendan Theaters, which is also owned by Mark Cuban. It was inside of the Palms
Yeah,
Hotel.
he owns everything. Freaking Shark Tank.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Cuban Shark Tank, exactly. So, believe it or not, Griselda saw the documentary before I even saw it.
What?
Wow.
That's
Yes,
scary.
she did.
That's
So,
scary.
so the next premiere we had was the following week, Miami Beach at the Colony Theater on Collins Drive. I mean, Lincoln Drive. Sorry, Lincoln Drive at the Colony Theater. So we had the red carpet debut, and Michael Corleone was my special guest. We hadn't talked in 10 years, so a mutual friend brought us together. So we went and talked amongst ourselves
Right.
the day before the premiere, and you know, just talking, you know,
Right.
catching up on 10 years of lost time.
Right.
So we had the photo shoot on the red carpet outside the Colony Theater, and everybody was already seated. You know, it was already filled up to capacity. So we went in. So the lights were out. We took our seats. So after the premiere, I had a question and answer session on the stage. So everybody wanted to know, well, you know, you divulge so many secrets in this documentary. Aren't you afraid Griselda and her family gonna come and get you? I said, no. I said, I have no fear of nobody. You know, I've never feared anybody. I only fear for my kids, but me personally, I'm not scared to die.
Wow.
But, you know, why would somebody kill me? I don't have any enemies. And so I said, but, you know, just to let you guys know, I brought a special guest with me. I said, Michael Corleone, stand up.
Wow.
He stood up, waved to the crowd. They lost their mind.
Of course.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like you have the backup from
You're
the
in
family.
such a presence,
That's
though.
so
Like,
cool.
The infamy.
That's amazing. I was curious. So since, you know, obviously you come from the life of hustling, are you able to like enjoy any like shows like Snowfall or like The Wire, any of the Sopranos, or is it like too real? Do you feel like they don't get it right?
You know what, to be honest with you, I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Yeah.
On the life of my son, I've never seen any of those shows. The Netflix series Griselda was the first time I've watched TV since 2014.
Wow.
I don't watch
Wow.
TV.
Wow.
I've never seen not one episode of The Wire,
Right.
Sopranos.
Yeah.
None of them.
Wow. That's crazy.
So you watched the whole series.
Yeah.
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 You did.
And,
Okay.
and as far as my documentary,
Yeah.
I only seen that 3 times.
Mm.
I seen it Las
Those
Vegas,
premieres.
Miami, and we had a premiere in Oakland, my hometown.
Man.
Well, Embryville, which is right,
Right.
borderline Oakland. And so it's been on Netflix, number 1 on Netflix for 6 consecutive years. 2012 to 2017, number
Yeah.
1 on Nat Geo channel. So I've
It's
never,
your
I've never seen it.
storytelling. You're an
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
storyteller,
Yeah, you
and
are.
that doesn't go away. That's something that was innate in you. That's why, of course, you having the book makes sense. Even coming out with your own projects makes sense to really tell the story, right?
Yes.
Who would, like, let's say season 2 happens of Griselda, which I'm only assuming it can be because of the success that it's reached.
I want to ask
right?
you a question. So, do you think it's going to be a season 2?
It feels like it would be because of how much people are yearning for more.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
feel like there's something untold, you know? And there are people, unfortunately, like as much as amazing it is, that we know Cocaine Cowboys too. So there's so many people that don't, but maybe that's a good thing because there's people that are gonna see it and hear them and see the story.
Yeah, so
and get that.
Yes, I'm going to tell you what happened. So like, I talked to the producer in Miami right before the premiere of the Griselda series. So he said Netflix has made us another offer, 1-year license agreement to run it again because they want to show that, and then on the tail end of that, they want to show Cocaine Cowboys 2
That's
again.
smart.
Yeah, so it's back on Netflix.
Love
You don't
it. Make
watch
sure
it.
you watch it. You're gonna be
Yeah.
like, this is what I was missing.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
let's say there's another season. Let's say the season goes into the 90s, where she meets this guy that came to her from Oakland, came to her from the Bay, and is her papi chulo from the Bay. That she falls into the whole system. Who plays Charles Cosby in a Netflix series like this?
To be honest with you, it's this guy to the Bay Area. He's from Berkeley. His name is Lance Gross.
Lance Gross.
He's a big name actor. He's got a lot of credits, on his resume. And that's who I would personally hand select. Because as far as my movie, which is called Legacy, we go to production in May. We already have the actor already under contract for that. So
Come
I
on.
can't say him because he's
Right,
already in
right.
contract for my movie.
He's on my movie.
Yes.
But Lance, you
Lance
see
Gross.
it.
Lance
you got a
Gross.
front of the line pass if you want to
Oh,
sign
yeah.
up for this.
He was in Temptation.
Yeah.
A couple of
yeah.
Tyler Perry
He's
films.
big.
Yeah.
And your look was so great. Like when they were doing
Yeah.
the interviews on Cocaine Cowboys 2, you had the Jerry curl, you had like the fly suits on, the watch, everything, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
gotta get. Do you still have any of that stuff to like give? Even in Legacy in the movie?
You know what? To be honest with you, I gave everything away.
No
You
way.
didn't
All
keep
right,
anything.
No. No,
All
I
right.
mean, like somebody come up to me, I want your Gucci glass. I just give them to them.
Damn.
Wow.
I want your Gucci
That's
glasses.
how she will. She will.
All right, Charles. So if I'm following the timeline correctly, you start around 85, and then
84.
hustling
84
84,
as a teen, 16.
and then you're going on to like the 90s. So we're a hip hop station. Did you happen to cross paths with any of the Oakland rappers? E40, Too Short, even a Tupac.
Well, funny you mention that because me and Too Short, we went to high school together, Fremont High School.
Wow,
He was a grade ahead of me. So when I was in the 10th, I came in the 10th, he was in 11th grade.
wow.
So, I mean, I know Too Short knows me. We have a
Nice.
lot of the same friends, but,
Right.
we don't hang out together. In fact, I haven't seen Too Short in, that's since 1990, long time ago.
Wow, wow. That's wild.
Yeah,
Do you
but
have the
we
same-
have a lot of mutual
Yeah.
friends.
Wow.
Do you have the same favorite word? What's my favorite word? Bible.
Yeah, Bible. That's a good one.
We were talking a little bit about that one time that Griselda did what any Latina would do when she finds out her man is two-timing her and tries to kill him. All right? Griselda's in jail. She somehow finds out you had met someone while visiting her too, and y'all had a thing going on. And one day you're driving, or you see people outside your crib. One day you're driving, and your car gets shot up.
Yes. Okay, so
Yes.
I'll fill you in on it. So, like,
See, Jorge, it gets crazier than me.
so it was it was this Caucasian lady that I met actually at the prison. She was visiting one of her relatives. Her name was Amber, and we kind of struck up a friendship.
Right.
It evolved into a relationship, and so she told her cousin, and the cousin was a little troubled by it because that could have spelled big trouble for her because
yeah.
she's
She's
in jail
inside,
with Griselda,
yeah.
and Griselda run everything in the jail. She run everything. Nothing moved in jail without Griselda's approval.
Wow.
So the cousin confided in her roommate about, my cousin has a relationship with Griselda's old man. So the roommate told another inmate, and he got back to Griselda.
Oh my God.
And so Griselda hired a private investigator to follow me to substantiate these so-called rumors. So he found out I had been cheating with Amber. So she tried to take my life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm about 3 blocks from my mom's house in East Oakland. Stopped at the stoplight on 98th and San Angelo Boulevard. A car pulled next to me. So as soon as I look over, gun come out the window.
Oh my God. Charles.
And Probably got off about 12 rounds. Had a bulletproof vest on. So the vest had absorbed 4 rounds, but I got shot in the arm. And smashed through the red light.
Mm-hmm.
Turned on this one little side street. It was called Pippin.
Mm-hmm.
Got up to about 150 miles an hour, 140 miles an hour down this little narrow street. And got away. Parked the car. Called Amber. So she came and took me to the hospital. Got out of the hospital later that night. She came to the house with me. So at that point, I didn't know
Right.
who had,
Who done
called
it, where
the
it
shot
came
because
from. Yeah. It could be anyone. At that point, you're dealing with this system. It could be
the unknown.
one of her ops. It could be something
unknown,
from
the unknowns,
from,
exactly. So the phone calls with me and Griselda, they just came to an abrupt cease. I talked to her 5, 6, 7, 8 times every day. No matter where I was at, she always called. So she just didn't call anymore. And I thought it was suspicious, but
Right.
And so, in the meantime, Amber told me that her cousin had got assaulted in jail.
Oh my gosh.
I got viciously assaulted in jail.
Wow.
So almost about the same time that I was getting shot, the cousin was getting assaulted in jail by Griselda. And so for good measure, after Griselda beat her up and pummeled her to the ground, she kicked her in the eye with some high heel pumps. And so I almost put her eye out.
She got heels in jail. Is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. And Amber, nothing happened to her. You get caught up. Cousin gets caught up.
No, nothing happened.
Amber
to
in the middle, causing
Wow.
all this drama. It's always an Amber. I'm kidding. I'm playing.
Is that why Amber Alert started? No.
You're so dumb. But then you end up speaking with Griselda afterwards, and she kind of like you end up having that. Don't be doing this type of thing. Like that was a warning shot, or it could have been worse, or something could have happened.
It was supposed to be worse. If I
It was
if I didn't have a vest, I would be dead. So
True.
she did what she meant to do, but she meant to kill me. So
Yeah.
but she failed. Well, they failed.
Yeah.
And so, in a strange twist, that actually brought us closer together, because I realized how serious she was.
Yeah.
That she lived up to her reputation as a black widow,
Yep.
and she realized what a value I was to her.
Ooh, having not spoken to you, having you out for those
Yeah.
days.
And then if I die, imagine how much income she gonna lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I forged a lot of bridges with people, in the underworld. So.
Wow. And she
Dang.
probably liked how fast you could drive and get away.
But that didn't scare you? Like you saw like, oh, this could happen if I don't start acting right. Like you said it brought you together, but it seems like that's scary.
The thing of
You
it is,
almost died.
to be totally honest with you, I've never been afraid of nothing in my life.
Yeah.
So since 1984 until 2024,
Yeah.
that 40-year period,
Yeah.
I've lost 350 friends, personal friends, to homicide.
Charles.
Homicide don't affect me.
Yeah.
Death don't affect me. My mom died a year before I met your husband. And to this day, I've never cried.
Oh, Charles.
I miss him
Yeah.
and remember him. But that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
I have no emotions.
And that's why when like I think a regular mind maybe can't fathom even just the way Griselda was, but just like you, she's been in that and that's why I think your common understanding of each other in a world of people that don't understand you, of what you saw growing up, what you had to do growing up, like what the household was like, what the friends were like, all of that plays a part in an understanding only you two have. And I'm sure that made it stronger too. When you say she had so many employees, she had family members, she had this whole system, but she didn't have someone that understood her, until you came.
Yeah, and so you're correct. I agree 100%. So we met intellectually. She was everything I wanted to be, and I had become because of her. And I feel the void in her life and in her heart that she had been missing. So we were the equal balances to each other.
Dang,
so
Charles.
they say opposites attract. That's true. And it's no more apparent than my relationship with Griselda.
Yeah.
Wow. So
Did
now,
she? Oh, sorry. Did
no.
she ever yell at you in Spanish? It must have been like.
Like sometimes she would get a little upset.
Yeah.
Like one time in particular, we had family day there. We had family, so the inmates go out on the line. We play games together. what's the thing with the the little tennis racket with the little thing?
No.
Oh, badminton.
Yeah, that. So badminton.
Yeah.
And so we were just having fun this day, right? It was from 8 to 3. And so I was just joking with Griselda one day, right? I was joking with her. I'm like, Griselda, I said, me and you, we are huge. You know, the streets love us. It was a joke. It was a joke.
But just a moment, yeah.
Yeah, it was a joke, you know. And she got upset. She was like, you know what? Don't ever say that shit again. Don't ever say that shit again. We do what we do, and we keep it on the low.
Yeah.
It's nothing to brag about. You know, it's nothing to brag about because we're in a business predicated on death and destruction. It's nothing to be happy about to brag about.
Wow. I was curious if now you've gone on to obviously like date after her and people know you, because of Griselda. Do you get girls that want to just know all about Griselda? Like, hey, tell me this.
Yeah, but yeah. Like a lot of times, women, they send me messages.
Yeah.
And so, Griselda, she's my idol and blah blah blah. Oh, and by the way, your story is cool too. I'm like secondary, but it's
Right,
cool.
right.
I give her the spotlight because that's Griselda Blanco.
Yeah.
Of course.
I have no reason. I mean,
Right.
I have no problems holding her umbrella in the rain.
Yeah, and there's no envy there. Like there's
None
no
at
envy.
all.
Yeah.
None. The more success Griselda receives, the more I receive.
Right.
Because you can't tell her story without connecting me to her in some
Come
way.
on.
So I'm happy when Michael does well. I do well too. Same thing for me. When I do well, so does Michael.
Right. It extends that legacy.
Yes.
An infamous legacy too. And I like how you touched on it, especially you show us kind of what her thoughts are of like, hey, this is not a glamorous thing. We're not saving babies, where we shouldn't be like, I'm not going to be happy people love me. This is, like you said, death and destruction.
Yes.
I'm completing a job. I'm necessary because of this,
Yes. Yes.
When you find out that she passes away, Charles, after all of the time that you guys had together and you saw the story, the documentary premiered, what's that like for you? Because there's, I'm sure, a mixture of feelings that you must have felt in that moment.
Okay, so like I was at home. It was September 3rd, 2012. So I got a phone call. It was a Colombian number. I answered the phone. It was my guy named Juan. Me and him, we had been friends for, at that point, maybe 5 years. He was in Medellin. And he knew Griselda's family. He kind of grew up with Michael, about the same age. So he was like, boss, Griselda just got killed coming from the meat market. I'm like, what? He said, Griselda, she literally got killed 1 hour ago.
Wow.
And he said, I believe her body is still laying on the ground. So it felt like I had been kicked in the chest by a bull.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because regardless of us not being in communication or whatever it had been, whatever issues we had in the past, she was a big part of my life and the biggest influence I've ever known. Second to my mom, of course. So when I wrote my book, when I was formulating it in my head, I wanted to end my book at her gravesite.
Wow.
And so that's what I did. Years later, went to Colombia and ended at her gravesite talking to her, letting her know, what a blessing she was to my life. She loved me when nobody else did. She accepted me for who I was and not what I was.
Wow.
Wow, Charles.
That's incredible.
I cannot wait for the movie, the thing you're putting together, because I'm telling you, the story that you have inside you, and that's to cut. Like this is just one story,
But imagine all the secrets I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you're a good secret keeper.
Yeah.
I feel like I could do a crime with you, and I'm being
Yeah.
free.
No one will ever know.
Absolutely.
Not that we do
Absolutely.
crimes, no, we don't. but if we were to,
I have a quick question. Are you familiar with the rap group Griselda? Have you heard of them?
They're out of Buffalo, New York, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm really not familiar with them, but somebody brought them to my attention.
Right.
And they name checked me, right?
Yeah.
One of the songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about that, but no, I don't know. I don't even know what they look like.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I heard it maybe.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They
They
rap really good. We just had Benny the Butcher. He's one of the rappers. He was in here the other day.
Okay, well, tell him I send my highest respects to him.
Dope.
When you do get name checked, does that trip you out? Like, you see your influence, you see that people are paying attention. You know, so much of rap and hip hop is not just telling the stories, but telling the stories of people like you, people they saw, maybe things they've done, but it's all enveloped in the life that you come from.
To be honest with you, no, it doesn't have any impact on me. You know, I'm quiet.
Yeah.
You know, ask anybody, they'll tell you they've never seen me. I'm a phantom.
Right.
You know.
Okay,
but
Charles. So if you don't watch TV, Charles, and you don't listen to rap, Charles, what do you do?
I listen to rap.
Okay.
I got is it iTunes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got iTunes.
Apple Music.
I love it, Charles. What is that? And what do you like doing? I'm sure there's so much of life that you've lived, right? What's a good day for you?
The only enjoyment I have in my life is spending time with my kids and traveling.
Nice.
That's the only enjoyment I have in my life. My kids and traveling.
And you just showed us pictures of a baby girl. You have a 22-day-year-old. By the time this airs, a 23-day-year-old baby girl.
And I also have my oldest is 35.
From 35 to 22.
Wow.
Which one's your favorite?
Been in the game a long time.
Well, then I have some in between those.
Yeah.
They're all my favorite.
Yeah.
You know,
Good answer.
I can't pick and choose. You know, I love them equally.
Yeah.
Which is what a parent should do, you know. But you have your favorite, but you love them all equally.
Yeah.
Yes.
He has the favorite.
He has the favorite.
It's the baby, huh?
Yeah.
It's
22-year-old. She deserves it right now, though. She's a baby.
Yes,
She needs you.
Yes,
And I see that of course there's clearly more things in the works. You said you do real estate stuff, so I'm sure you have that business going on, but there is the creative part of you that I know you have to let out. The book is doing amazing. Netflix is re-airing Cocaine Cowboys 2 if you want to check it out. What else can we expect, Charles Cosby?
Well, as I alluded to earlier, we're going to production on my film, which is called Legacy.
Wow.
And when we get off the record, I'll tell you who's the director and the actor. And so, but what I will tell you, though, so before the actors went on strike in June,
True.
we were scheduled to Screen Actors Guild. We were scheduled to go to production in October. So in May, we were interviewing Michelle Rodriguez to star as Griselda. So when the strike hit, it was
my God.
It was a 118-day strike.
Yes.
So when the strike ended, you know, she went a different direction. Well, you know, that's Hollywood.
Right.
So
Sometimes
we don't hold anything personally against nobody.
No way.
But it's going to be a really big project.
Of course. It has to be. It's going to be done right, and I know you're the one to do it. And by the way, we are Mexican, but we can act Colombian, okay?
Oh, absolutely.
Like if you,
Absolutely.
If you need any,
Hablo español.
I could be a dead body. If you need any, side actors, we're here.
Or get the real Letty.
Yeah. Yeah. We get us on the low, too. Like,
Absolutely.
at a good price.
Absolutely.
No, thank you
Absolutely.
so much.
I definitely keep that in mind.
Okay, Charles Cosby, thank you so much for coming through. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you for allowing us to retell the story to our listeners. You know, so much of Los Angeles and the Bay is intertwined. Plus, you add in the Latino culture with it with Griselda Blanco. And I just hope people see you for not just what you've done infamously, but also understanding that had you not been here, we wouldn't get such an incredible story like you've been able to tell.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you for inviting me to your platform. It's
course.
a pleasure. I hope to see you guys at some point in the future. We can talk about my film.
Yes.
And we had actors along with me. So,
Yeah.
But I appreciate you, you know, and I definitely appreciate your husband most of all.
Yeah. Your favorite photo of yourself?
My favorite photo of myself. Yeah. And believe it or not, so I'm going to tell you a little something about that photo that your husband shot. So before I wrote my book, I had the cover made, right? You know, I met a lady in South Carolina. She was, you know, she worked with a lot of big authors, right? So she made the cover even before I typed one word in the book, right? And so that cover was my inspiration to write the book.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
That photo right there was my inspiration.
Amazing.
True story.
That's dope.
How come you can't never get my angles right? Like, how come I always have to tell him to take it like 7 times? I'm kidding. No, that's just wife stuff. No, thank you so much, Charles Cosby, for checking in. It's a pleasure. It's an honor.
Yep.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
You,
I
Charles.
appreciate you. I
Oh,
appreciate
Power
you.
106, Brown Bag Mornings, baby.